Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to kind of talk about quality control issues, bad things you see in the bodies, and based off of our bodies, what we see now today, and what some of the original bodies look like. Because as you know, we've got some original molds from the Bowling Company from back in the 80s and 90s. And then we actually have, on one of these bodies, we actually have one of the original bodies that we had acquired a long time ago, a Mustang body, and we're going to kind of compare what those look like and issues they might have compared to what we're doing today. So first of all, here is the Mustang body from Bowling. This is an original one. No, the other big thing to note on this is that there is no protective film on this. Not like we do now. There is no protective film on this top side at all. This is now unprotected and has been for probably a couple decades, so it's pretty scratched up and beat up and everything. But this is the same Mustang body that we're running right now, the 2288, which is underneath over here, this one right here. 2288. So let's look at let's look at our issues first. If we get the angle right here, you can see where that window structure there in the rear, you can see it kind of repeated there faintly next to it. And you see it there, and you see it there. Then you see a little bit of the rear window kind of coming down into the trunk area. Then you have a faint line, it's hard to see, in the window there, coming down into the window from the window frame. And then you've got lines here in the wheel well area. All right, that's ours. That's what you see with ours. So, what do you see with the original one from back in the 80s? Look at there. Same lines. Now it doesn't seem to have the trunk one as bad as we do. It does have the window one there. It's a little hard to get. It's so scratched up, it's hard to get it, but yeah, I can't get the light just right here, but oh, there, maybe you can kind of see it. Anyway, it is there. It is definitely there, take my word for it. It's got the same imperfections here on in the wheel well area. Maybe if I get away from those other bodies, you can see it a little bit better. But yeah, so it's got that just the same as ours. So maybe I'm being a little too hard on myself and trying to get these, but we are still going to try and put these on a bigger sheet size, or run these on a bigger sheet size that gives more space over to the sides, so that the plastic doesn't have to stretch as much and then consequently pull things away from where they first initially end up at. And so you don't see that repeating image of stuff. It may still be there a little bit, but it shouldn't be as bad if we go to larger sheet size. The problem is, of course, sheet size means more cost. Bigger sheet size means plastic per body costs more. So, but if we can get a better results with the technology we have today and everything, we'll probably be better off than we were before. And now that we're running dual heat guns now on these, so when we did the last run of these Mustangs, which this is here, we don't have the bubbles and stuff like that we were getting before, because we can now get them pretty warm. The real answer on that would be to make a mold that had heating elements inside of it that you can control with a separate box and everything, but we just don't have the money or the capability to do that right now. Maybe if we make new molds, we'll include that somehow into that, but that's not going to happen right now. So let's look at some more. I have no idea who made this one. I think this is a Thunderbird body. I think I asked once upon a time on RC10 Talk, which is a great website. If you've never been there, go check it out. What this was, who made this, and I don't know if we ever got a clear answer on it. But this one is actually not too bad. In fact, I don't see this. Like I said, this is a different company. They may have done this properly in a bigger sheet size. I don't think there's really too much of issues. It has maybe a little bit of a ripple there. Yeah, and a little bit you can see a little bit in the window there, but that's because this window here is pretty deeply recessed compared to what you get in our Mustang over there in the Bowling thing. And what's weird about it is, I think they figured because this is supposed to simulate an open window on the left side of the car, maybe, I don't know, because it has the air in it, I don't know. But one thing odd about this is very deep recessed over here, but this one on this side is not very deep recessed. I don't know why they sculpted it that way, but that is how it is. And it may be that the real ones back then were kind of that way, so they simulated that accurately. I don't know, but that is kind of interesting about this car. Then we've got this one. I'm not really sure what this one even is. It's pretty cool looking. Got the big spoiler in the back there. Very flat across here. Once again, there's no markings indicating who made this. This might be one we try and back pour at some time. We'll have to stiffen it up. That's the other thing I was talking about in some of the videos, is that I thought the was getting stretched pretty thin. They seem very flexible. I didn't really like it. Oh my gosh, these are so thin. I can't imagine these lasting too many races back in the day if we ran into anything. But yeah, this is an interesting one. Now, because of the square edges, yeah, there's a little bit here, not too bad. Yeah, really kind of bad right there. You can see it's got the ripple in there from being pulled down around the edge. And I'm going to guess with the highness and peaks and the sharp corners on this, if we ran this ourselves on a bigger sheet, you might not be able to do much about that. On this side, it's actually not too bad. So it's always one side usually is hotter, warmer than the other, and that's the side that gives more and will stretch out more. And some of those old machines, they were plastic heated up over here, and then you flipped it over on top of the mold. And so it could be that, let's see, this is the side would have been over here where it first came onto, and then this was the side that is, you know, farthest, getting flipped over furthest, and that gets pulled more, you know, and creates the lines and everything. I don't know for sure on that. But actually, like that other body, this window is recessed a lot more on this side than over here. Bowling didn't do that on their Mustangs from the same era, but apparently this is. But these actually might be replicating older body styles, because if I remember correctly, this is like 1996 maybe. So this isn't 80s or 90s. This is more like 90s now that I think about it. But yeah, so it's not an uncommon issue what we're dealing with. Then some of the original bodies have it, so I probably need to go easier on myself and not worry about it so much. So you may see some of our prices go up a tick now on some of these, thinking, you know, oh, they were bad, but they're not really that bad. They're just kind of the way the mold was designed. That's how they are. Now we come over. This is our what was it? GTP, Intrepid GTP we ran the other day. Now it has that issue. If I can get the lighting right, yeah. There you can see the ripples in it from the plastic hitting that top of that and then being pulled down around the edge, right? I don't like that, but on these I kind of have to accept it no matter what the scale is, because this is just such a sharp edge. It's bound to happen. So I grabbed some. This is a S&K body from probably back in the 90s. This is one of the wind tunnel ones where they would give you another piece of plastic to go inside, and the air was supposed to get sucked through here and go back and cool your motor as you were driving around. But let's look at this one and see. And you can see, yep, there it is. Gets pulled down around the edge, and it's down along the whole practically length of the car. Just like on ours, it gets pulled down around. If I can get the lighting so you can see it better. But yeah, it gets pulled down around the edge all the way along. So, and these guys, I've actually talked to one of the former owners of the company, and yeah, they had, I forget who they said, he mentioned a company, they had someone else making these for them back in the day. They did not, in their own facility, make the bodies. They had someone else making them. So they probably didn't have, you know, a whole lot of control over some of that stuff, not like I do now with what we're doing. Then this one is a old Team Associated Lola body. And right here, this one on this side at least doesn't have too much. It's pretty good. I don't know why they were able to not have issues. So maybe they were running more mold, you think, right? Well, no. Come over here. There's the line. So most likely, once again, what's going on here in this line you see right here diagonally, that's not an issue. That's molded into the mold. So most likely what's going on here is, once again, what I was talking about. Back in the day, they used to use these ones that would heat up the plastic on heating elements, excuse me, down in here, and then they'd flip it over onto the mold. And most likely, I don't know which way it works, but this side is probably the side that was flipped over, and over here on this side it's getting pulled out, down and around. I'm gonna guess. I don't know that for sure, but that might be. Someone who knows more, used those maybe back in the day, could answer that question better than I can. But that's my theory right now, is that's how those were done. So we're not gonna sweat that on ours going forward too much, and I haven't been. So we may make it less noticeable or less severe. It won't get pulled down quite as far if we do these in a bigger sheet size. But once again, it will hopefully make these a little more rigid, because this is seems fairly rigid right now, but that's because this material is right here. If you remove this material, it's going to get a lot more floppy down in here. This is adding rigidity to it by having this the way it is right now, so it's kind of deceiving on how rigid it is. It's really not all that rigid, and in fact, in some of these, when you start to trim them out, the plastic can start to curl out a little bit from the bottom, and you might have to put pieces inside to kind of scrap Lexan to kind of pull those corners back in again. That's not too uncommon on these style of bodies. So that's it pretty much. Oh wait, all right, so you're watching this video. It's taken a while to get that video out, get this video done, that video done, and in the time that was shot and everything, we've actually got the new build platforms, newly built platforms for the 1/10 pan car molds. So this is the Greenwood on the new platform. You can see kind of the difference in size a little bit there. This is definitely smaller. This is about at least 3 inches smaller. So we're gonna give that a go. We didn't go as much as I kind of wanted to, because I realized I was gonna have to cut new pieces out in the frame for the frame to hold the plastic, and I just didn't. We had some that were this size already pre-cut that we hadn't used, so we're gonna go with that, see how that goes. I think, as you've seen in the video, since the old ones had the problems with the lines and everything in it, this is gonna be, whatever comes off of this, that's gonna be the final product from now on, I think, for the most part. Then we come over here and we've got this Andy's Greenwood Wedge Vet dirt oval body. We have not run it all, no one's run it. We're gonna have it run for the first time now when we start to do these here in like a week or two. We've got to get some more plastic in right now. We'll run that, see how it goes. This may need a longer sheet, we'll see. It is about 2 inches longer than these molds, these 10 scale molds here, pan car molds. This is meant for 10 scale buggies type stuff, off-road buggies, to have a dirt oval body on them, something like a JRX 2 RC10. I believe even stuff like the old Dominator, I think, will work on this. So that's what you got there. We'll give that a go. You can see it's quite a bit longer. I moved it to the back. We may have to move it forward more. I don't know. We'll just see. The back isn't such a big deal since that's usually kind of cut out and everything, but we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work on this, we may have to go to a bigger size. I'm trying to standardize on one size, but I have a feeling this isn't going to quite cut it. And if anything, I'm going to have to move a little bit further forward than where I placed it at. I was trying to give more room for the detail and everything to form correctly up here, and not so much worry about the back, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't have enough experience yet to know how that affects stuff too much, but we'll see. So look for those. Hopefully we'll be running in the next couple of weeks. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Oh, I forgot. Over here, another thing we're working on, we got quality issues with the gear covers and wings. If you remember our other video, we went from 6 on a board, we went down to 3. Problem is, different things require different heating times and different kind of controls and everything to get the best results. So we might get this really good and maybe this good, but we may not get this gear cover very good, which is kind of what this is right here. It didn't form down around the edges very well. That is something I didn't like, so I want, it is easier, and you can get more made if you could do 3 of them in one pull. That would reduce your labor costs quite a bit. But if you're getting junk parts, trying to be quick about it isn't going to help you any. So we're going to take and we're going to do these on a smaller sheet size, and it'll actually probably help us use some smaller pieces of scrap that we had up and use it. Right now what we've got, we're going to use something about this size to put them on. So that's going to kind of look like this, because we have some different gear covers that are different sizes, so this will be a good kind of starting point. It won't be for the wings because it's just too big for the wing, or too small for the wings. And I'll show that here, why, explain that in a moment. Okay, here's why we're not going to use this size for the wings. See, it's okay. You'd be able to probably pull that, it'd stretch out, it'd be okay. But remember what's happening over here with these. If you watched our other video about this and why we're going to bigger sheet size, we're going to have this problem here where this is very tall, but there's not much plastic to work with over here. And on a wing, these side dams here are the most important, pretty much, thing about it. The back side, not so much important. This is not, or this front side's not so important because it's all going to get trimmed out. So ideally, this is the perfect depth for this, because if it gets pulled down around here, we don't care. Customer's going to trim that all out. Same thing on this side. Customer's going to trim it all out, but this is also fairly short over here, so it doesn't going to matter too much in this wing. But over here, on this side, that plastic's going to hit here, cool, get pulled down around. And if you go back to one of our videos from last year, these originally done by Jammin back in the day had ripples down along the side because they weren't using a big enough sheet size or didn't have the tooling warm enough. It's a kind of a combination of both. When we had this over here, we made these no lines on them because we didn't have that issue. You know, we didn't have the issue. There is a, well, maybe a little bit there, but if you go back and look at the Jammin ones, they're way down on there. So, and this one actually was a bad one. You can see it didn't form well because we probably didn't have the temperature up correct on this. So the plastic probably wasn't hot enough on that one. But what we'll do is we will use the same depth here so we can use the same brackets in our machine, in our plastic sheet holder for this direction. But we'll just slide them out a little bit further and we'll make a new base so we can get these in and have more plastic over here on these ends to work with when it goes to mold it. And that should give us pretty good results. We'll probably go about that width that we have here, maybe a little bit less, most likely. We'll probably go about that width, and that's how we'll run a lot of the wings. What I've got to do is go and measure some of our other wings and see how long or wide they are, and we'll kind of take the longest one that we've got and we'll use that as our basis, and all the smaller ones will be fine then on there, but then we can standardize on one sheet size instead of having a base for, you know, different types of wings. But that's how we're going to do that to improve the results for the wings and the gear covers. We'll run few of them at a time, but we'll get much better results. We'll have more sellable products that customers want. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you like, and see more of the videos we'll have coming up later this summer about making bodies. The big one that's going to be coming up hopefully later this summer, months probably from now, once we start to kind of perfect the process, is going to be making new molds. That's going to be a big one. Like I said, we're talking about back pouring some of these type of things, and in fact, before then, I'm going to do a video for people interested in car bodies that just shows how many bodies we have to back pour, and we have a lot. We are going to go through so much material for molds. If we can get this working correctly, it's going to be ridiculous. So pay attention to that, subscribe so you know when those are coming out. Have a good day. Bye-bye.